Today on StockCharts In Focus, we're combining two powerful resources from around the site into one. Going to show you how you can put them together to get more out of both. We're starting with our sector summary tool. Of course, a classic view of the 11 S&P sectors. But what you might not know is that you can actually use that resource to drill into each sector, the industry groups, and the individual stocks within. We're going to combine that with the scooters, the StockCharts Technical Rank. Show you how you can use the scooters on that sector summary tool to find the strongest sectors, the strongest industry groups, and the strongest individual charts with the best setup. So lots to cover on the show today. Of course, you know what it is. It's all new. It's all here. It's StockCharts In Focus. All right, my friends, welcome to the show, StockCharts In Focus. Of course, our product focus show here on the channel where we dig into the site, dive into the tools, show you around the resources, and help you get more value out of stock charts. That's our mission here every Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Also up on the YouTube channel after that and the on-demand platform at StockChartsTV.com. Lots of ways to watch. My name is Grayson Rose, Vice President of Operations here at StockCharts.com. Wonderful, as always, to be back with you for another episode of StockCharts In Focus. We were off last week, so it's been a couple of weeks since we had a new episode of the show. This one, though, is going to be timely. It's going to be fun. You can use it right now, and you can incorporate this into your process. Take it with you off into the future. What we've got going on right now in the markets is a lot of sector rotation. A lot of action off those lows that we saw last year. We've got a market that is really kind of ripping to the upside. And a lot of what's happening is jockeying around between all these different sectors. We've seen things like energy and healthcare really be leaders in recent months, and especially in the case of energy, recent years. Now we're seeing some of that be changing hands. We're seeing some of the leadership rotate from energy and healthcare over into things like communication services, even a little bit of rotation back into technology. Seeing a lot of strength in things like industrials. It's a really interesting time to be thinking about not just the markets and individual stocks, but thinking about the sectors of the market. So that got me thinking, this is a great time to highlight a tool that we haven't looked at in quite a while on the show, that being our sector summary tool. As I mentioned in the open, we're going to combine this with the scooters, show you how you can actually use that StockCharts Technical Rank, that incredible relative strength measure, combined with that sector summary tool to kind of pinpoint the strongest corners of the market. So without further ado, let's jump over to the site, get going. As we often do, we are starting here on the Charts and Tools page. This is a fantastic directory of everything that exists around stock charts, really a complement to the member tools section that we have on our dashboard. We like to start here though because it's a great jumping off point into pretty much any tool and feature around the site. As you can see, you can scroll through this page, read up on the different tools, see those little descriptions, and you can quickly and easily click into anything. So we have a section here on the Charts and Tools page called Summary Pages. That's where we house things like our symbol summary page, our option summary page, which we just brought out, market summary. One of those, though, is the sector summary. So this is how we are going to access the sector summary on today's show. We're going to give this View Now button a click, and here we go. Now, we have touched on this page, as I mentioned, in the past. We've touched on this on the show in the past, but it's been quite a while. You might be familiar with this page. You might have never seen this page, but we're going to talk about a couple of the different creative ways to use this page on today's show. So first and foremost, what this page is intended to do is give you, as the name suggests, a summary of the sectors. We take those 11 S&P sectors of the market, energy, healthcare, financials, technology, all those different sectors that we talk about consistently. And we summarize those here on this page. So by default, it's going to show you the latest trading day. You can see the period is set to intraday. We're going to show you all of those different sectors, and it's going to be sorted actually by percent change from top to bottom. So So on the day today, we have energy leading, still down on the day. We have real estate as the worst performer on the day, down almost 3.25%. So you can quickly come to this page and just see what's happening in the markets at the sector level. It's a great resource for that. Now, you can also sort this page by any of these different factors. So if you want to sort this by scooter, for instance, you can quickly do that. Just give that scooter label a click. And you can sort that from top to bottom. Click it again. It's going to sort from bottom to top. And you can really do that for any of these different columns. The other nice feature of this page is if you do want to pull up a chart of any of these sectors, you've actually got two options. You can use these quick links to pull up a sharp chart, an ACP chart, even things like a point and figure chart of those different sectors. Or for a quick view, you can actually just hover over the symbol and you see that little mini chart pops up. So if you want to see how technology looks on the quick little mini chart view, just hover over that symbol and you've got that mini chart right there. So really, really nice to be able to just kind of get this summary of these different sectors. Now, the very cool part of this page, though, is that it includes this kind of drill down function. So the way that the markets are organized, right from the top down, we've got the major indexes. We've got things like the S&P 500, 400, and 600. We've got things like the NASDAQ 100, all those big groups up at the top. We organize that down into the sector level. So we can think about the market at these different sectors. Primarily for the US stocks, we think about 11 different sectors of the market. Below that, we have the industry group level. Here on StockCharts, we use the Dow Jones industry groups. And so we organize all of the individual stocks out there into a sector and then into an industry group within that sector. From there, you have all of the individual stocks. So we go sector, industry, individual stock. And at the high level, of course, you have the total market. So this page is really built around that concept. What I mean by that is that you can actually click into any of these sectors. So if we want to see, for instance, all of the industry groups within the technology sector, we can just give that name a click, and we've now drilled down into the technology sector. You can kind of see that up here with these breadcrumbs. We started at the sector level, now we are in the technology sector, and we're looking at all of the different industry groups within the technology sector. This is fantastic as a kind of market analysis, market study resource. If you want to see what's happening at the sector level, you can get that at that first page, then drill into each of those sectors and see how the individual industry groups within are doing. So for instance, in the technology sector, we have different things like computer hardware, renewable energy equipment, we've got computer services, software, semiconductors, all of those different industry groups that make up the technology sector are summarized right here. Again, we can do things like sorting these. We could sort these by scooter because we actually do have a scooter universe for those Dow Jones industry groups. We can do the exact same thing, hover over any of these symbols, get a quick mini chart of that feature. And if we want to drill into a chart of that specific industry group, we can use those charts right over there on the left side, the little quick action links. Now, as I mentioned, sector, industry, individual stock. That means we actually have another layer down that we can drill into. So once again, if we want to drill into, for instance, semiconductors, we can give that semiconductor's name a click. And now we've drilled down one layer further into all of the semiconductor stocks that are out there that make up that individual industry group within that technology sector. So this is a very, very cool resource for studying different corners of the market. Again, now what we've got is a huge list of stocks. All of these are going to be semiconductor names. You can scroll through these and study any of these charts. Again, it's going to be sorted from sort of biggest performers, top performers, down to weakest performers. So we've got things like CVD up 11% on the day. We could flip this upside down, sort it from some biggest losers to biggest gainers, all of that. And we can do the exact same thing. Again, hover over any of these symbols, get a quick chart of that. We can also click on the name at this point to actually open up an individual chart of that symbol, or use those quick action links right over here. So this is a great way to study the markets, and that's kind of our first stop here. We're just highlighting how you can use this sector summary resource. It is a very cool tool, one that I actually spend a lot of time with, kind of drilling into, again, different sectors, different industry groups, and finding what the individual stocks within are actually doing. This is a very, very cool tool for that. But The great thing about the sector summary tool is that we can actually use it to find individual stocks, find new trading opportunities that we might want to add to our watch list and might want to think about trading. So that's where we're going to bring in the scooter. This is where we get to have some fun. So we're actually going to jump back up to the sector level. I'm going to give that breadcrumb a click. That's going to take us right back to kind of the home page for these sectors. This is how I like to use it. I like to actually drill down into the sectors, into the industry groups, into the individual stocks within, and I like to use the scooter to find the ones that I want to really focus on. Now, if you're not familiar with the scooter, let me give you a quick highlight on what that is. Scooter stands for StockCharts Technical Rank. It's our little formula that we've come up with here at StockCharts, really kind of originally based around John Murphy's approach. It's our way to rank all of the stocks within a group. The key that I always like to remind people is that it is the same exact technical criteria applied to a group of stocks. So we have different scooter universes. As you can see, that's what the U column stands for. We put things into different buckets: large cap stocks, mid cap stocks, small cap stocks, ETFs, industry groups, and so on and so forth. So each stock, each symbol can actually only be in one universe. You can't have something that's in the large cap group and the ETF group. That doesn't make any sense. So everything is only in one group at a time. Things can move universes, but they're only going to be in one universe at a time. So things can move up, obviously, from small to mid to large cap, and can move down, but they're only going to be in one of those universes at a time. Like I said, it's the same criteria applied to all of the stocks within that universe. The reason that that's important is that what it does is it applies that criteria and spits out a number from 0 to 100. It ranks all of the stocks within that universe according to the same criteria. The benefit of this is that you can use the scooter as an amazing filter. We know that everything up at 99.9 is going to be very, very strong technically. Those are going to be the high flyers that are making big moves. Everything down near the 0 level is going to be very, very weak on a technical basis. And everything around the 50 level is going to be kind of somewhere in the middle, just sort of trading neutrally, if you will. So you can use the scooter as an amazing filter to say, I'm only going to look at things that are above 75 or above 80. Or if you're playing the short side, maybe I'm only going to look at things that are below 30 or below 20. You can use the scooter as a filter. There's so many stocks out there in the market, so many ETFs on top of that. There's way too much to look at, and it can be overwhelming when you get a big list of stocks. It can be overwhelming to try to say, how do I sort through this? I've got 150 names here. I have to somehow get through them. Well, that's where the scooter can help. It can be a filter for you to sort of weed out what is likely to be strong from what is likely to be weak. Now, that's kind of the background on the scooter, and we can combine that actually with the sector summary tool to quickly and easily find great, strong stocks. So let's do this in real time. I'll show you exactly how I like to use this tool. You can actually come up here. One of the features that we haven't highlighted yet is this period menu. You can come up here. This is going to default, like we said, to intraday. It's going to show you the latest trading session, but you actually have a couple of other options in here. You can change this to be 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, all the way out to 1 year. What that's going to do is show you the percent change column over that period of time. So if we do 1 year, here are the sectors of the market over the last 1 year. We can see that energy is the biggest gainer, and communication services has actually been the biggest laggard, down almost 17%, energy up over 32%. I personally like to sort of mess with this menu. Now, somewhere between 3 months and 1 month is kind of the appropriate level for me. Your time frame might be different, so you have to sort of figure out what works for you. I like to look at a 3-month period on this sector summary tool, though. So that's showing me what are the top sectors of the market over the last sort of rolling quarter, if you will. Over the last 3 months, what are the top sectors of the market? Well, we can see that we've actually had quite a recovery in communication services and tech. We've seen the market get a little bit more risk on here, a little more growth oriented. That's kind of coming back into fashion here. So we've seen those sectors really start to work. We've also seen materials stay pretty strong, actually, one of the big gainers off the lows there. So we can click into any of these different sectors of the market. Let's say we wanted to click into materials. We'll use that one because it's not the highest flyer. So we set this to 3 months. We click into materials. Now we're looking at, again, all of the industry groups within that materials sector. And so we can say, okay, well, what have been the strongest industry groups over that period? Well, we can see that steel has been incredibly strong, for instance. Aluminum has been incredibly strong. Metals have been incredibly strong in this material sector. We can see those three, non-ferrous metals, steel, and aluminum, all up at the top. So let's say steel is where we want to live. We want to click into steel. That's been an incredibly strong industry group. We like that. So now we've clicked into that steel industry group. What we're looking at now is, over the last 3 months, all of the stocks in that steel industry group. Which ones have been the strongest? Well, as you can see, a lot of these have been strong, and we've got 29 different stocks to sort through. That's a lot to sort through. We might want to quickly jump to the ones that actually make more sense. Again, this is where the scooter can be incredibly helpful. So what we can do is actually sort this by scooter. You can see we give that one click. That's going to sort from strongest to weakest on the scooter score. And then one other thing that I actually like to do is click universe. So you can sort of double sort this table by scooter and universe. That means you're going to sort by scooter, but then it's also going to keep the larges together, the mids together, and the smalls together. So we're going to give universe a click as well. We've got one that doesn't actually have a scooter, but you can see that we've got all of our large caps now in one group, sorted from strongest to weakest. We've got all of our mid caps up next, sorted from strongest to weakest. We've got all of our smalls up next. So I like to kind of think about those three groups and not have them all commingled, if you will. So right now, what we've got is a list of incredibly strong steel stocks within an incredibly strong steel industry group within a material sector that's been one of the biggest performers over the last 3 months. Let's take a look at some of these charts. We can actually just hover over these charts and see how they've been moving. There you go. You've got Steel Dynamics absolutely ripping. We've got Nucor, breaking out to new highs, potentially very, very strong off those September, October lows. That might be a really interesting one to look at. We've got Reliance Steel, another one that's kind of made the breakout and has been really moving to the upside. So you can see how strong a lot of these stocks are. There we go. We've got PKX also moving to the upside, potentially setting up for a breakout. VALE getting hit a little bit, so rolling over there a little bit, but has been strong. So this is a great way to come in here and quickly find strong stocks that aren't just strong on their own, but are also backed by industry group strength and sector strength. For instance, let's look at that Nucor chart. We can actually open this up. I'll open it up in a new tab. There we go. We're looking now at a chart of a Nucor, a steel stock. Look at that beautiful breakout. Let's turn on our inspector. We got a beautiful breakout setting up there. This is a lovely chart, breaking out on price relative as well. Here's Nucor versus the total market. So breaking out to new relative highs, breaking out to new highs on price. This is a great chart. And when we think that this is also, again, backed by industry group strength and sector strength, that is a thing of beauty. So that's really kind of the strength of the sector summary page. It makes it incredibly easy to find these strong stocks that have been leading and that aren't just leading on their own. They're, again, leading at the industry group level and leading at the sector level. They have a group strength in addition to individual strength. So really, really a great tool. And when you combine this with the scooters, makes it very, very easy to filter these out. Let's say we went down to the mid-cap group, for instance, and we wanted to filter out a couple of these. Well, here we go. Now, again, we're starting with those mid-caps up at 96.7. That's a very high scooter score. We can hover over these and see ATI, another incredibly strong stock. CMC, another incredibly strong stock. So this can be a great way to find these. Now, I personally like to look for scooters that are kind of around the 80 level. I find that they're set up a bit better. Sometimes when you get those stocks that are at a 99.9, they've just run a bit too far. So if you're looking for kind of an entry, sometimes the 75 to 80, maybe up to the 85 level can actually be a great place to look. For instance, let's look at TX. There you go, breaking out to probably new almost 1 year highs, new 9-month highs there. That's not a bad chart. CLF breaking out a little bit after a big hit to the downside. So you can sort of play with this and find the levels that work for you. Here we go. We've got RYI. Ooh, that's a nice setup there for Ryerson, a smaller steel name. CRS, one that's kind of made the breakout, moved higher. So you can see how strong a lot of these are. So that scooter trick, though, filtering this list by those scooters, something that I love to do. So we can go back, we can try this again with, for instance, we're looking at that 3-month period. Let's try it with communication services. We can drill into communication services. We can look at, for instance, internet stocks. That's been an incredibly strong group over the last 3 months. And we can do our sort trick. We're going to hit by scooter and then sort by universe. Got a couple more of those that aren't actually assigned to a scooter yet, but here we go. We can see our large cap names that have been absolutely cooking. Netflix, we know that's been a big winner off the lows. Meta, huge day yesterday, up a little bit more today. Spotify, one that's kind of put in a base and is now trying to make a breakout above some of those low prices that it's been trading around. So you can start to take a look at some of these. So BEKE, for instance, again, one in the 80s, and that one looks a little bit better from sort of a risk-reward standpoint. There you go, breaking out a little bit, some sideways trading action, but potentially breaking out. So you get some interesting names when you play with these, and it's just a great way to sort of find individual names quickly. Here's GoDaddy, a little bit lower on the scooter score, sitting in the 60s, but if we open up that chart, let's see how that looks. Not too bad, actually outperforming the market overall. Kind of been drifting sideways a bit over the last few months, but potentially an interesting one. So you can really just kind of study different corners of the market, and again, combine this with the scooter, the StockCharts Technical Rank. Makes it really easy to filter these different groups, find the strongest ones, and steer clear of the weaker ones. If we go down here, for instance, we can look at some that are in the sort of low scooter level to give you a sense of kind of the value of this. We've been looking primarily at some of those high scooter scores. You've seen how those are really strong charts. But if we look at things like DLPN, see, that's just in a long downtrend, a 9 on the scooter score. So without even looking at that chart, I can quickly say, if it's a 9 on the scooter score, I probably don't want to look at it. There are other things that are going to be stronger, that are more likely to be winners, more likely to be strong setups. So I'm going to focus on those ones instead of focusing on the low scooter scores. You can see here, UXIN, the same kind of thing. CXDO, same kind of thing. These low scooter scores, most of these are more likely to be weak from a technical perspective. And the ones up at the top of the range, up towards 80, 90, 70, even in the 60s, are more likely to be strong from a technical perspective. So that's really, again, the benefit of the scooter. So that is our show for today. Digging into the sector summary tool, one of my favorites, combining that with the StockCharts Technical Rank, combining that with scooters, showing you how to filter some of those sector summary tables and pinpoint some of those names that might be setting up some of the strongest names out there in the market. Again, this idea of sort of going through from the top down, drilling into the sectors and then the industry groups and the individual stocks within. The benefit of that is that when you find a strong sector with a strong industry group and a strong individual name within that, you really have kind of group strength from the top down or from the bottom up, depending on how you want to spin it. Either way, that group strength is incredibly important. We're seeing that right now with a lot of different corners of the market. We're seeing some of those metals names really catching a bid because a lot of them as a group have been incredibly strong. We're seeing that with trucking. A lot of trucking names have been incredibly strong recently. Some of those coming out with nice earnings beats and things like that. And so it's kind of lifting the group as a whole. So markets really do operate under this kind of concept of grouping. We love to group the markets in all these different creative ways. So by following that, by finding strength, not just at the individual name level, but also at the sector and the industry group level, using that to sort of drive your individual stock picking, you can find some stocks that have great setups on their own, but are also backed by that group strength all the way up. It's a beautiful thing. So the sector summary tool really designed to help you do it, and the scooters make it even easier. So hopefully you've had some fun with me drilling into this tool, drilling into this page. It's always a fun one to highlight. As you know, we do this every Friday, drilling into different corners of the site, showing you tools, features, resources, how to use things, tips, tricks, ideas. It's all fun here on StockCharts In Focus, but ultimately our goal is just to get you more value out of StockCharts. That's our mission here every Friday. Again, we do the show 3 p.m. Eastern Time up on the live channel, but also up on our YouTube channel after that. and the on-demand platform at StockCharts TV. So you got lots of ways to watch. My name is Grayson Rose, Vice President of Operations here at StockCharts.com. It's been wonderful to be with you as always. We'll be back next week with another edition of StockCharts in Focus. But until then, chart on, my friends. Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're gonna bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.